Okay, so I basically went through the whole of school, not really ever having understood anything. I think I was pretty good at, reciting and recalling facts and, rattling out different methods that we learned for different circumstances. I was pretty good at doing that, but I don't think I really actually understood much. And so when I got to university, in first year, I basically had the same mindset that I had in school, where I thought if you understand something, it means that you can sort of recall the definition or whatever, and maybe like manipulate some symbols on a page to like solve a maths equation or something. That was my idea of what it means to understand something. And so I went through most of first year kind of thinking, oh, yeah, this sort of makes sense. Kind of weird, but it sort of makes sense. And I feel like about half of the year group was in the same bucket as me. They had this idea of like, this is what it means to understand something, and this is kind of the level we're playing at. But the other half were like definitely in a completely different league. They were just playing a different ball game. And I realized this when it came to revising for first year exams. I was revising with one of my friends, and he was trying to help me understand the proof for a particular theorem in maths. It's called in our lecture notes, it was called the scenic viewpoint theorem. It's
the old SVT.
The old SVT. It's sort of like the main part of the proof of another theorem called the Bolzano-Weierstrass theorem, which is like a really every like first year maths person learns this thing, right? And so he was trying to help me understand this thing, and for the life of me, I just couldn't quite get my head around it. I kept getting sort of lost in like the maths notation and getting confused by things. At one point, he asked me, "Okay, so when you think about this thing, like what's the picture you have in your head when you think about this thing?" And I was like, "Whoa. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Picture?"
I've got some letters and numbers in my head.
Yeah. And like, I didn't have any picture in my head for this thing. I didn't have any picture in my head for any of that stuff. But it turned out that after he drew like a few squiggles on the board, like a really simple picture, that picture encapsulated what the whole point of the theorem was. And if you could remember that picture, you could derive the proof really easily just in your head, in the same way that if you understood at its core what like a weighted sum is or what stratified sampling is, you could then derive the definition in an exam when you needed to do it. And this idea of like having pictures in your head to explain concepts, this was like an absolute game changer. Like I couldn't believe it. Like this guy had pictures in his head all along and no one had told me. And part of me was like, whoa, this is seriously worrying because we have exams coming up and I don't understand anything. It was also worrying because I thought I understood it. I actually, until that point, I did not know what it felt like to understand a concept. And I suspect most people go through their entire education without actually getting to that point. I think I was fortunate that I got to that point because like my friend kind of helped me get there, and I was studying maths where like it's quite important to get there. I feel like you can go an awful long time without actually getting there. The other frustrating thing was that it felt like someone should have told me this. Someone should have sat me down when I was like 12 or something. Or if not that, 16. If not that, at the start of university saying, right, this is what it means to learn something and understand something, right? If you can do this, that means you sort of understand a concept. No one really did that. And that feels kind of important.